Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. This is Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul. And in this temple space, I guide your inner goddess to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as alchemy and energetics. Come on in. I hope that you are feeling like a goddess today. It's a great day to be elevating our consciousness and goddess skills in this life. Today, I want to talk with you about a topic that has come up for me recently with clients and in my personal experience. And I thought that it would also be a great opportunity to get back into more archetypal talk. Because archetypal medicine and archetypal education and awareness is so powerful, because what archetypes are these lines of consciousness, which is how we perceive this experience, this human experience, through these lenses that have been calcified and solidified through these habitual pathways and experiences of human life. Okay, so an archetype, for one, is a goddess, right? If we talk about goddess medicine and goddess energy here on this channel all day, every day. So just taking the archetype of being a goddess as an example. So the goddess energy spans back, like all archetypes, throughout the annals of time. Very, very old. Okay, so we've had goddesses since pre-mythological times. Okay, and these characters, these physical characters that have shaped the stories in the Bible and all these great religions and mythologies, all of these characters have followed through the timelines of our conscious awareness, so much so to the point where they affect us on a subconscious level, and we are embodying these things and these identities without even really having to think about it. So the goddess consciousness is just that feminine archetype of power, which we can choose to be empowered by, also disempowered by, if we are choosing the wrong perspective on these things. But when we start to study archetypal medicine, we are peering into these deep conscious aspects of ourselves that we can then pull the things that we find value in to continue to shape this reality. So the goddess archetype itself is known to each and every one of us because of religious figures, because of historical figures. We are all shaping and fashioning ourselves after these different women throughout history, whether or not we are consciously aware of it. And so all that I want to do on this channel is bring forth that goddess energy and that goddess vibration, in the form of us recognizing and understanding our divinity, so that we can have fun with this thing and, create the life of our dreams. So that is a little bit of what archetypal medicine is, and why I talk a lot about goddess energy here is because it's something that has been so valuable to me for a long time, since the start of my spiritual journey back in 2008, when a goddess came to me in one of my spirit walks, deep meditations. Artemis actually came to me out of nowhere. I had no idea who this goddess was. And she basically was like, I'm going to be your patron goddess, right? And there's like a whole beautiful story that came along with that whole experience. But ever since then, I've just been tuned into this goddess medicine. But today, what I want to talk about is one particular archetype, which is the orphan. Okay, that is the orphan archetype, which is going to hit a place of healing for us, and the importance of going through these processes and working through the healing, taking the medicine so that we can heal. It's because we want to be clarifying and purifying our energy so that what is left at the end of all of this inner work that we get to do in this temple space is this pure expression of divine light that leads us into alignment with what our life purpose is, what our full expression is, and what that happiness and that joy and that wholeness, that feeling of wholeness, and that deep feeling of accomplishment of being who you are authentically, right? So before I go too deeply into this topic, I want to remind you to please like this video so that the algorithm can do its magical, mysterious thing. Thank you so much for tapping that button. It's free. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing this video so that other goddesses such as yourself receive and be aware of this information. And thank you so much for all of my new subscribers. And thank you for all of you that show up regularly for this content. All right. So the orphan archetype. Why are we talking about the orphan archetype today? Because the first question that I have is, what is the deepest gift, the deepest, most authentically aligned aspect of yourself that is there that you can give to humanity? And remember, this is a gift. So it is something that you have found in yourself, or that you may not have quite found quite yet, that you know that if you could fully harness this thing and fully activate this thing, that it would not only be a gift for you and for your life, but a gift to others and a gift to humanity. Okay? This gift, whatever it is going to lead you back to your orphan archetype, your orphan child archetype. Because oftentimes these gifts that we have been given have been rejected by people that have been important to you in your life as you were growing up. Okay, you know that you have found your orphan archetype when you can find that gift, which can be a desire, which can be a calling, a belief, a sense of purpose, an activity, something that you have creatively been given, born with, a talent that was once rejected by people that mattered to you. So for me, as I was talking about in the previous video on communication, it was always my voice and my expression. So my love of dance and music and how I translated that through my voice, through dancing, and just speaking my truth, which is now I get to speak my truth on YouTube. So it's beautiful after all of the healing that I went through with my throat chakra. Okay, that was my gift. But my orphan child, I had to find my inner orphan child to uncover this gift. I had to heal all of the resentment that I had, of all the dirt that was thrown on top of this gift. Like, I used to love singing. I would just sing my little heart out. I mean, the notes weren't bad. Like, I had a little something going on. And I'm sure that if that gift was cultivated back when I was young, I could probably be a pretty incredible singer right now. But I used to love singing. I used to love speaking and talking. And, you know, through my childhood, it was discouraged. It was dampened. And then my ego started to come on to protect me. And my ego thought that if I was just quiet and I hid my voice, that it would be safer for me, because then I wouldn't be judged. I wouldn't be outcast. I wouldn't be seen. So then I definitely wouldn't have to be judged if I wasn't seen. And so this was a habit that I carried through life, that I thought was supporting me, until it came time for me to really get into the work, into the art and the expression of being myself. So this gift that you have that was rejected, what is it? Where is it? Comment below. Let me know. I would love to know if you know what that gift is that you have to bless the world with. Like, imagine if I wasn't doing YouTube videos. I can't imagine, like, if I never started doing courses, or like if I didn't create the book that I have on Amazon, which is linked below, Exploring Your Divine Feminine Potential. Like, if I just had that inside of me and I never moved and took the courageous act of writing out the book or writing out this content for YouTube, like, there would just be some aspect of myself that was starving. Okay. So that is what I have is here in my notes, is there's a part of you that is starving for attention. And when I say starving from attention, this attention is from you. It's not from the gaze of society. Although in some instances, maybe you were called to be an actor. Maybe you feel like you were called to be famous. Before any of that can happen, you have to be able to shed a light onto the aspects of yourself that need to be seen, that desire to be seen. Okay? Because if not, it's like being a dry sponge, like a sponge, whose purpose is to absorb and to grow, but yet it is unused. It's just sitting there dry on the countertop, just gathering dust. We are meant to be filling ourselves up through these acts of inspiration. Okay. So there is some aspect of yourself that is starving to experience life. There is some aspect of yourself that feels like, what if I've never, like, think about an experience or something that you can show up and give and participate in, that if you don't do that thing, if you don't have that experience, you will feel undernourished. Like, this could even be the feeling of being loved properly and being loved deeply. And some of you have the fear of, like, dying alone or continuing to attract relationships to you that are traumatic or unhealthy or safe. And so because you have this fear of starving for this divine, sacred attention and someone that's going to be intentional about you, you either settle for being alone, or you settle for a relationship that is only feeding a small part of you. And so therefore you are starving. This starvation and this lack of nourishment all originates from the orphan child archetype within you. The child aspect of you, the childlike aspect of you that just settled, that said, well, I'm not going to raise my hand for that. I'm not going to express my desire for that. I'm not going to show up for that. I'm just going to settle for what I have here, because at least it's something, rather than having nothing. And so in essence, you are not only starving, but you are malnourished, which is just another form of starvation. Being malnourished and not being properly loved, properly cared for, properly seen, felt, to be able to express your vibration and your authentic self and to see who you are, and to not feel seen or heard or received, is a malnourishment. And I think that we are living in, that's the real pandemic. Talking with women who feel empty, who feel, as if there is no actual genuine satisfaction in life. And so you settle for what you have. And it breaks my heart. Like, this has been coming up for me in my meditations. It came up super strong, super heavy. And I just started to pour out all of this stuff because I know that there are so many women that are experiencing this. You could be in a high level profession right now where you are respected and you feel like you are adored and people love you. and you have all of this attention, yet there's still a part of you that is starving to be seen, to be expressed, that you are afraid to share with people, with these same people that acknowledge you for this thing that is not even the thing that you want to be seen or loved or acknowledged for. There is another part of you, secret part of you. It may be a secret, or it may be something that you've only told like a small few. You may have never even said it out loud. I dare you to write it in the comments. That's my double there for you. Write it in the comments if there's something that you want to be seen and witnessed for as a desire of yours, something that you feel you are starving for and that you need this nourishment in your life. I want you to write it in the comment below. Okay. And I want you to look at the previous video on communication and ask yourself, how can I start a dialogue with this aspect of myself so that she can start to be felt, seen, and heard? Okay. So the shadow is where the starvation occurs. And we want to be the light. We want to be the dark, and we want to integrate those things because that is what goddess energy is all about. That goddess archetypal energy is all about integration. Okay, I do have a degree in interdisciplinary studies. So I'm an interdisciplinary pre-med student, which means that I can pull from multiple different fields of study and schools of thought, and I can find where they cross integrate so that they make sense. And I can just glean from different sources of knowledge, different things that people are telling me, different things that I am passively hearing, and I can pass that through my goddess vibration and align and take from those things that are in alignment with that goddess vibration of mine. It is a gift. It is a skill that I have. It's a sacred gift, and you have a sacred gift too that needs to be shared. I'm asking you, I'm almost begging you to share this gift if you have not yet. The world needs this gift, and your orphan child needs you to express this gift, because the new success, the new flex is to become someone that is so authentically aligned and in love with themselves that your younger adolescent self would find you to be an inspiration. That's been the whole thing of my life. And what I have spent so much of my life path really trying to focus and dedicate myself to, and that is my inner child. The loyalty that I have to my inner child that I had to develop, which started through the process of me acknowledging what she needed, what she was missing, and what she needed, and then going through the whole process of reparenting myself, finding my inner mother, finding my inner father, healing myself economically, healing myself physically, which is father, economics, material, three-dimensional stuff, mother, physical, emotional, spiritual. Like, this is why we need our inner mother, our inner father. All of these archetypical parts need to be integrated. Okay. And I've spent so much time doing that. I don't know why this is itching me so much. It was not itching me before. You got to spend time doing these things and finding that integration. Check out yambs.co, yambs.co. It's linked below, and get some coaching, get that guidance. Okay. So we're talking about the shadow. So what happens when we don't do the work of excavating what our desires are and finding exactly where we are malnourished, where we need to shine that light and to cultivate those gifts? What happens when you don't do it and you choose to go into the default patterns of just accepting good enough from yourself and accepting good enough from your life? We then fall into the shadow realms of addiction, okay, and abuse. I also have abuse here. Okay. When you are starving energetically and emotionally due to lack of inner work, what's going to happen is you are going to replace what you would be nourishing yourself with energetically, creatively, emotionally. You're going to find something to then replace what it is you are not activating in yourself with. So that could be in the form of any kind of addiction, social media. It could be your friendship group going out and drinking. Um, you could be like working yourself to death. You could be yourself to death. You can be doing a number of things that are not the thing that you need that are actually going to give you this vital nutrients. Okay, it's like vitamin D and K12. So getting into like nutraceuticals, like vitamin D is something that we talk about all the time. People are out here taking hella vitamin D supplements because that's what somebody told them. That's what they heard. So now you're getting these over-the-counter vitamin Ds, but you actually need vitamin K, I think it's K2 or K12, to actually get that proper absorption into your body. Okay. So you're taking in this nutrients, but you're not getting the supporting supplements to actually be able to absorb that thing. Okay. So living vicariously through other people, following the path of other people that they have set out and wanting to be like them, like that's not going to give you the vital nutrients of your authentic expression. And you have to have the courage to tap into that aspect of yourself that needs to be brought into the light. And sometimes you do have to go into the shadows to find that. And that is shadow work. Shadow work is finding the orphan child that you hid into a corner, or the orphan child that may be expressing herself in the form of jealousy and sabotage for your sister. And it takes deep, uncomfortable work to be able to admit that this is something that you're doing, that, you're hating on yourself, you're hating on other people, even if it's in the mildest form. We have to be able to hold ourselves accountable for those things so that we can grow and so that we can evolve and so that we are not letting our inner wounded child run the show. Okay. So that you want to create, what is it that you want to say? Because right now we are in Cancer season as I'm filming this video, and Cancer season is all about that mothering energy, okay? The divine mothering aspect. This is the most gentle period of the divine masculine season. And as we know here in this temple space, that the divine masculine season is the spring and the summer, feminine is the fall and the winter. These are goddess basic principles, right? And the most gentle part of the masculine season is Cancer, which is fourth house energy. It is your home. It is what you find comfort in surrounding you. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to do this inner mothering work with yourself, to tap into your inner child, your inner orphan aspect of you that you left behind or was told that you had to leave behind. Maybe somebody told you had to leave your inner child behind. Okay. And find your mothering aspect to nurture. Tap into your divine feminine. Call your mother, call your grandmother, speak with them. Call on Mother Nature. I'm looking out the window over here. One day I'm going to do a video where I can actually get that view over there because it's really beautiful. But tapping into Mother Nature, asking her to come to you. For me, I was in a deep meditation the other day and I was just processing some emotions. And this is what happened to me. I was meditating on my inner orphan child, because inner work is something that is constantly happening for me, especially as a constant showing up intentionally for life every day. There's always some kind of work or some kind of growth available for me. And so I was meditating and I was sitting with my inner orphan child, who I've done so much work on healing over the course of my adult life. So we're pretty good. Like me and my inner child, we're pretty good. I've actually evolved my inner child into like the next stage, and I call her and I activate that archetype when I need her. But I was working with my inner orphan child because all this stuff was coming up about abandonment, which I've spoken to you all about abandonment and my experience emotionally with that in my body as I work to become emotionally current presently. And so I was in this deep space, and my orphan child started to come online. And I knew that it was my orphan child because there was this sense in me that felt like a victim of something, right? And there's one thing to actually be a victim. It's real. Not to say like if something's happening to you where you are being treated in an unjust, unfair way, that you're not a victim. Okay. Yes, that is a situation. However, at the same time, there's the goddess perspective. Check out that last video on communication. I'm gonna link it below for sure. I will remember. I know I always say I'm gonna link videos and I don't. I'm gonna link, it's linked below, trust me. Okay. So I tap into this higher goddess perspective who's like, oh, you're being a victim. So I know that I'm communicating with some smaller aspect of myself that's struggling with the physical reality. Okay. And what happened was I went into a meditation and I saw Mount Shasta, Mama Shasta. And y'all know that last year in December, I went to Mount Shasta, which is the root chakra of the planet. And I did some really, really profound work over there when I went, and I got this light code activation on the actual mountain. This whole process happened with my spiritual body and my spiritual energy system, which gave me a complete reset. So when I was in this meditative state and I tapped into my orphan child who was feeling like a victim of something that had occurred to me, and I remembered that when I was there, that I set intentions to change the path of my life and to manifest some very specific things. And what this has equated to is life moving a lot of bullshit out of my way, just moving shit out the way. Like life has just been happening like super fast. And so I went into this meditation and Mama Shasta showed up. The mountain, I felt the mountain inside of my root chakra, and I felt the mountain like holding me, and I was a part of the mountain. The mountain was inside of me, and I saw it sprouting through my root chakra and through my womb. And she just like held, like she showed up and she just held me. It was like she was speaking to me. And it was so profound because I've had profound spiritual experiences like this in my past. I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it. I've had these spiritual experiences in my past. There is a spirit of place wherever you go. Wherever you go, the land that you are on, this is like Native American wisdom. I am also Native American Cherokee. Whatever land that you are on, it has a wisdom, it has an energy, it has a memory. So when you go to different places, as I've talked about in the past, like you need to physically be in these experiences to get these activations. Like doing things virtually is cool, but nothing beats going physically somewhere and having that community experience or that sacred experience wherever it is you are. So Mount Shasta showed up for me, and she was just like, boom, like I'm here. And then like everything that energetically happened to me on the mountain, this like reset of energy where I was seeing light and feeling color, like it happened. Like it just started going through my body, like right there on the spot. And Mount Shasta just held me. And when I that how she just like showed up inside of me almost in response to like a cry for help, I felt so seen, and the tears just started to flood through me, like bawling, crying, like ugly cry. And the funny thing is that I thought that this experience, like I wasn't gonna mourn it, I wasn't gonna cry over it, like psychologically, I knew that this was happening just because it was a manifestation of something that just happened faster than what I wanted, not wanted, but expected to happen. Like it happened real fast. So I had to shut it off. It was a death cycle. I didn't think I was going to mourn it. I didn't think I was going to cry. And I wasn't crying over that. I was crying for my inner orphan child. My orphan child felt unseen, unacknowledged. Okay. And I felt confused in that moment. And when Mount Shasta came to me and she showed me that she was still a part of me and that I was not alone and that I was being held by her, just the amount of tears and shedding and healing that occurred in that moment was just so powerful for me. And I allowed myself to sit in that moment and weep like a baby. Like I never wept. I haven't wept that hard in so long. And I could feel, and why I'm coming to you today, telling you that this Cancer season, this inner mother work, inner goddess mother archetypal work is so important in this season is because Mama Shasta came. I felt my grandmother come. I felt the spirit of Mother Gaia come in. I felt Mary Magdalene come in. I've been working with her spirit. I felt Mother Mary come in. I felt Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, come in, and I felt all of these feminine spirits and energies surround me and hold me like a baby. Like one energy was just like patting me on the back, and I was just weeping and weeping and weeping. And it was such a profound moment because even though I show up from my goddess consciousness every day, even though you show up, you could be a boss babe, you could be a goddess, you could be a badass feminine. There's still a part of each and every one of us that is always evolving and always healing and expanding. And there is a childlike aspect of ourselves that will always see this reality from a place of curiosity and or confusion. And so tapping and having these deep conversations with your inner orphan, your inner child, and all the aspects of your inner child are so important so that you can find this healing. And so there's the inner orphan archetype that was within me, crying, feeling sorry for herself. And then there was all this goddess mother energy surrounding me, telling me that it was okay, that they saw me, that they felt me, even though sometimes I I felt seen and I felt heard. And so goddess energy now is like, okay, bet. Mama Shasta is still here. She's on my side. All the conversations and all the prayers that I made for what it is I want to manifest while I was over there, she's like, yes, we are in the process of doing that work right now. This is why this sucks for you right now, because I am taking away everything that is not in alignment with who you are so that you can get to your ultimate authentic expression. I'm taking this from you. It is being removed from you because you no longer need it. There are certain things that you have been dependent on that you no longer need. You need to ask your spirit mother guides to help you to part ways with those things that are keeping you in those cycles of limitation so that you can activate into the next level of your goddess journey. Get that healing, okay? We are all out here needing to be healed, needing to be held. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So another aspect, archetypal aspect of our inner child, as we start to move through this orphan archetype, okay, is the eternal child, which is something that I discovered, in reading the other day. And the eternal child, I would liken to the rebel. Okay. So for me, fortunately, I had a natural divine security as I was growing up and as I was going through these different instances where I would be in situations with people that I absolutely do not vibrate with, but somehow I had to stay in those situations as an empath and learn how to deal with the shit. Right. So so my eternal child, also known as the rebel, sacred rebel. I call her the sacred rebel. It was easier for me because I'm an Aquarius, an Aquarius sun. So as an Aquarius sun, being strange, going off of the beaten path, being authentic, which I always talk about here at Your Mind, Body, Soul, has always been easier for me because a long time ago, I chose to reject the status quo and to reject the norm. So, as you do your inner child work, you will find that as you graduate out of the orphan mindset that is addicted to the paradigm and the narrative of suffering, which then condones addictive behaviors and abusive situations. As you evolve out of that, you start to get a little angry. This anger comes up. There was a lot of anger in me as I started to grow up and as I started to get older about just everything. Right? Just everything I used to just be so angry about because I used to always just feel like life is against me, like things were just hard for no reason. And it started off hard in my household. Like growing up is not supposed to be difficult or painful, but it was. And so I carried all this angst with me. And there was a lot of anger, which caused me to rebel. And I'm so grateful for this rebellious spirit because that really got me outside of my box. And she taught me. So now you could say that we go from adolescence to being a teen, okay, a teen, like a late teen. She taught me how to rebel, and she taught me how to break out of the limiting standards of just being a good girl, making people feel comfortable about who I am and, what the things about myself that just don't fit into society's little box of tricks. Right. So this rebel aspect of me evolved and she took over and she's been online. Okay. And I feel like I made her very proud. So is there a part of you that is like, defiant against the things that you should not be accepting? There's that voice that's like, well, why are you doing this again? Here we freaking go again. You're allowing me to be abused again, or here you are abusing someone else. Maybe you could be the abuser, you could be being abused, and your rebel child, eternal child, is like, why are you doing this? And so this may manifest in the form of you sabotaging certain experiences just because there's a part of your soul, your eternal child, rebel child, that knows that this is not for you, right? And the rebel child is wonderful. It's wonderful, but we also don't want to be moving from the shadow of that, which can sabotage a lot of things. If you don't have the gracefulness of really leading with your goddess energy to wait and patiently allow things to unfold or to move from a more sophisticated or a strategic place versus I just found that my rebel child will quit a job, not have like another job lined up. That was kind of like par for the course for my rebel child when I was in my 20s. Like that kind of thing, just like, especially when it comes to authority, right? So we can start to evolve out of these things. But the take home message is that becoming authentic starts with your younger self, your inner child, and how you have integrated your life from that aspect. Okay. Because I'm here to tell you that each and every one of us has a natural signature. And you, who you were meant to be, is whoever you desire to be. It's a conversation that you had with your soul before you showed up that I'm going to experience X, Y, and Z. And all of these experiences are simply here to grow me into the most authentic expression of myself. And the most authentic, deeply aligned, well nourished, fully seen, activated, integrated, whole version of yourself is a diamond. Because diamonds are forged under pressure in dark caves where not a lot of people journey to go unless they already know that they are going to find something that is precious and that is rare. And so that is what I'm encouraging you to do through what I share in these videos and excavating the diamond attributes of yourself in your authentic expression. And you are unique. Every diamond is uniquely cut, just like a fingerprint. Everybody has a unique fingerprint. And so I want you to ask yourself, but every day that you show up for your life, how are you a unique fingerprint expression of yourself? How can you honor that? How can you elevate that? How can you edify that aspect of yourself that is unique rather than shaming yourself or going to the default of ignoring and replacing the joy of seeing yourself authentically rather than judging yourself? How can you actually elevate and put on a pedestal your eccentricities or the things that you know are not easily acceptable? How can you allow yourself and give yourself permission little by little, or just open the floodgates to who you truly desire to be? Can you allow that? Can you let it happen? Okay. So that's all I have for you today. Please comment below if you enjoyed this material. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. One love. Mwah.